What's up, Portland? John Taylor, founder of PortlandRealEstateExperts.com.
And I'm Kristina, co-founder of PortlandRealEstateExperts.com.
And we are your host for the show that brings you interesting people talking about what makes them unique,
what makes Portland unique,
and why Portland is such a great place to live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the premiere episode of the All Things Portland podcast. And I'm your host, John Taylor, along with my lovely co-host, Kristina
Bullock here today.
And we have our very first guest. We're excited to have him on. He's here to talk to us about health and vitality.
Tim James is a friend of ours that we've had for quite some time, so we've watched him transition into becoming the health hero. He's the founder of ChemicalFreeBody.com. And take it away, Tim. Tell us what you do.
Thanks for being our first guest.
Yeah, guys. Thanks for having me here. I'm really excited to be here and share my story with you guys.
Well, we're excited to be here too, and we're so happy.
Tell us about where you came from, where you grew up, and kind of your background, and then.
Do I have to?
You don't have to. As much or as little as you want to.
Sure.
Just kind of what your journey's been to get to where you're at, and how you're educating people on their health, and how you've educated people.
Well, sure. So I grew up over, as you guys know, over in Eastern Oregon on a cattle and hay farm, right out of a city called LeGrand. I lived out in the valley though, and I grew up on the standard American diet. We raised Hereford cattle, and I hunted and fished a lot. In fact, we had a motto of, if it flies, it dies. If it's brown, it's down. So
there's always a motto too.
We were hunting and fishing a lot, and it was a big deal. And and I played baseball at a high level, and then got it done with college, and had a wife, basically a couple kids and a wife and a house, and did that whole thing. And at age 37, I basically found myself close to 40 pounds overweight. I was very tired and fatigued. I wasn't sleeping well. My energy was so low, the only reason I would go get exercise was to walk the dogs. If I didn't have dogs, I probably wouldn't have went on walks because I was just so tired. And then it got worse. I had to take Tums and Rolaids because I had acid indigestion really bad, like all day long.
Yeah, this is when I first met you, so it's interesting to hear how you were feeling on the inside, behind the scenes, when I knew you just being out and about.
Right, yeah.
And full of life and always full of energy.
Yeah,
but how you were
this is all
feeling.
kind of like, we didn't notice all of that about you, so.
Yeah, fake it till you make it, it's probably what I was
You did
doing.
a good job.
So, but yeah, inside I was not happy. I wasn't sleeping well. And then it finally got to the point where I had these eczema started happening on my elbows, both my left and right elbow. And then finally I had a huge patch on my left knee. It had gotten so big that if I bumped it into a coffee table, literally it was like bumping into somebody stabbing me with an ice pick. It was so painful. And I remember being at parties or something doing that. It's like, oh God, it's just like so, and trying not to pretend like anything's going on, but I'm in pain. And then finally I started, had rectal bleeding when I was going to the bathroom, and that happened for
wasn't expecting that on the show, but hey.
Yeah. Well, guess what? There's other people that are dealing with this stuff too, and it wasn't from hemorrhoids either. So it was internal issues, right? I had this, what was called leaky gut. I found out later, and it was bad, and a lot of colon problems. And then finally, I was on a trip with Lily down in Peru, and the whole trip got totally destroyed because I basically had to be life vanned and life flighted to a hospital in Lima from northern Peru, and it ruined the whole thing.
Do you know that?
It ruined the whole vacation for everybody. And here I'm in a hospital on vacation, and that's when I realized, looking back, that my poor health and my choices that got me there doesn't affect just me; it affected everybody else around me. Right, my kids, my wife, and everybody else. Right, it's connected. Right. So, but I still didn't know what to do, and I had my head buried in the sand. So, anyway, I come back, and then our friend Charles, one of my best friends, got diagnosed with chronic lymphocytic leukemia, which is this, blood cancer, supposedly incurable.
Yeah.
And
I remember that. That was a big deal.
Yeah, and he broke the news to me, and I was just like, oh shit, because it's like, my grandma died of cancer, brain cancer, my aunt died of skin cancer, the melanoma stuff, and I had another family member at the time with cancer, and my little brother actually had cancer, skin cancer a little bit, but that was, it didn't manifest to anything. But so
I think that story is very common these days with people. I feel
it's like everybody's freaking getting cancer.
Know
like
someone who's has
it's
cancer or
rampant,
had it
so.
at this point.
It's scary.
That's why we wanted you to be our first guest, because what you do is so important to help with those, with cancer and just health overall. So what steps did you take, and how did Charles play into that, and how did that get you onto the journey that you're on now?
So he basically broke the news to me and then said, hey, I'm going to go to the Hippocrates Health Institute. It's a 61-year-old healing, natural, healthy food clinic, juices and that kind of stuff, and lots of water and, basic things. But I never heard about it. And so he said, will you go with me? And I said, yeah, I'll support you, whatever you got. Then on the plane flight there, he's like, oh yeah, by the way, there's no meat, no dairy, no salt, no sugar, and like all this stuff. I'm like,
wheatgrass enebas.
I thought you didn't drop that till you got there.
I'm like, what am I going to eat? But I'm like, Tim, just focus. This is your friend. He's got cancer. They probably got salads or something. I guess I'll live on that. I mean, I was freaked out.
Right. Yeah. You're there to support your buddy.
Dude, if it wasn't for him having cancer, there's no way I would have done that deal.
Right.
I mean,
you came back changed. Absolutely.
Well, yeah. So I show up, and then what it was is it was a school. It was like 40 hours of education a week. They were like teaching you all the bullshit that you've been fed your whole life, not just the food, but the lies that's between your head. And they create this societal construct, and to step out of it, it's just, and they basically opened me up, and I was questioning everything there. Everything. I was like, how could this little podunk place be really helping people to heal themselves of cancer? I mean, come on. They're spending billions of dollars racing for the cure, and all these smart people are doing it.
Yeah,
and guess what?
Easy to question.
I started questioning everybody, and I found out that all the people that were working at that place that had been there for 10, 15, 20 years looked 10, 15, 20 years younger than the regular population. And this one guy who taught the first class called Internal Awareness, Dr. Scott, he had a lot of muscles. I mean, he was a bodybuilder, so was his wife. And I said afterwards, I was like, man, how old are you? He's like, I just turned 50. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I thought you were maybe 40. And then my nurse that I sat down with, I'm like, finally asked her, I was like, hey, how old are you? And she's like, I'm 53. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I thought you were maybe like 35. I'm like, you're freaking gorgeous. I'm like, this is crazy. And then finally there was this one lady, Renee, she was overweight. She was pretty round, right? She was one of the directors there, or managers, and office general manager or something. And I said, hey, I want to interview you. Man, I want to talk to you about this, because I was trying to find out stuff for Charles, if this place is legit or not. She's like, I can't meet with you right now, but come see me tomorrow at 1:15. I'm like, okay. So I go see her, and I'm like, so how was this Hippocrates thing done for you? And she's like, well, over the last 17 months, I've dropped over 100 pounds. Okay. And she's like, I'm the only one of my friends that's over 60 that I am on no medications now.
Right.
I'm like, oh my God, let's take my shoe out of my mouth here.
Right.
And I'm like, wow, this place works. And then what happened is that I had my own healing experience. So I started drinking the juices and the wheatgrass shots and the green juices and the plant-based diet. And the first few days sucked. I mean, it was terrible. Like night sweats and irritability and just like, wasn't feeling good.
Overall, just...
Yeah, flu-like symptoms, cold-like symptoms. You're doing this detox process. And we're like hardcore. I mean, I'm like off of burgers and right on to sprouted mung beans.
Just cold turkey, boom, right?
Juice, right? So, and that's what happens. And they're in that place. They're there to support this journey.
Remember all of this.
But then on day 5, boom, I woke up and I felt like I was 19 again, and I haven't looked back. And I said, Charles, I said, we've literally discovered the fountain of youth. I said, I'm going to do this with you. I'm giving up everything except for bacon, and we're going to do this. And
you came back pretty fired up. I do remember.
Oh, yeah. I went to the store and I'm like, what do I need? They said, you need a juicer. Give me one of those. What else do I need? You need a grow sprouts. You need this.
I remember seeing you come like, turn the other way.
He was wound up.
It was a lot.
I'm going to teach everybody how to juice and everybody how to grow their own wheatgrass and this and that.
Yeah.
Remember that? And I looked you right in the eye and said, well, I know myself. I'll do it once, and then I won't do it again. But I go, if you grow them for me, I'll juice them every damn day, and I'll drink the juice.
Yep.
What'd you say?
I said, okay.
Yeah.
And what happened?
Yeah, well, then, what ended up happening was then the next day you brought Eric Martinez over, and I had to give, and then I told him the same spiel that I told you. Yeah. And then Eric started telling people, and John started telling more people, and other people. And then before too long, on Friday nights, it was date night. People would show up, I had cancer, and like, Tim, can you help me? And I'm like, yeah, and I tell my story, date night's over. So then we started doing those classes every Wednesday. Yeah. Those filled up quickly to Tuesday. We're doing them Tuesdays and Wednesdays where we'd make juice for people. And then my garage turned into a whole sprout growing operation. Then we hired, Matthew, and he started helping us out and delivering and
I remember
stuff.
all of that.
Bring me my trays of sprouts.
Yeah, I'm waking up at 4 a.m. and doing sprouts and watering them and planting them and doing all this stuff, and then put on my suit and tie and going being a financial advisor, you know. And that went on for 5.5 years, and then that's finally where I started Chemical Free Body, was because sprouts, you can't ship them all over the world.
Right.
They go bad, and then you leave them out in the sun. They
I totally miss getting my squares of sprouts.
Those are pretty badass, aren't they?
Those are
now
amazing.
I have to grow them myself, which I still do every now and then.
Yeah.
But that's
the
why
green drink is
amazing because you don't have to grow them or take care of them or tend to, that need to put in all that work to drink the greens is absolutely gone with that new product.
Absolutely.
Which I love.
Yeah. So what we did was I interviewed like 100 people, and I'm like, why aren't you juicing? You came to my class, juicing. That's how I healed myself. That's how Charles healed him. And Charles heals himself of the cancer, by the way.
Right.
That's the biggest part of the story. It was like,
yes,
absolutely.
My friend heals himself of chronic lymphocytic leukemia with no radiation, no chemo, no nothing.
That's what got my ears perked up, to be quite honest.
Yeah, and I had first-person experience with that. This is like my friend. It happened right in front of my face. I watched it. I was a part of it. I healed myself, my eczema, my skin issues, my gut, blood stopped. My knee healed up within 8 months, and like I said, I'll be 47 in a couple weeks, and I feel like I'm 19. I ran sprints barefoot this morning. I feel amazing. I feel like a little kid. I'm jumping around.
You look great, and so Yeah.
So now what we've done is
working.
with Chemical Free Body, we've created these little detox kits. And the juices and the stuff like that are pre-made in powders that are super concentrated, so that people can basically have an institute at home and get their own personal healing journey started, and very simple. And then we have private coaching and private group coaching to kind of help them through the process.
I have a question for you. Your powder that you provide, the Green 85, how is that different than a powder that I would go to like a GNC or the store and try and get that same type of product? I feel like your product is just on another level. And if you could tell us why.
Well, number one is because anytime during the processing of anything, or you're going to denature it at some level. So what we do is we don't just take wheatgrass that's ground up and throw it in a can and sell it for $50. It's very cheap. Well, we'll take wheatgrass juice extract, and then what's ever available, we'll buy it like 5 to 1, 6 to 1, 10 to 1, 20 to 1 concentrates. So we have over 23 different, we call them superfoods. We have things like moringa leaf in there, dulse extract, broccoli sprout extract, chlorella, spirulina, wheatgrass juice,
all the yummy goodies.
Acai berry, a dandelion leaf extract, dulse, which is a sea vegetable, which is loaded with iodine and lots of minerals. Thyroid issues today, so many people. The soils are farmed out of iodine. It's not in there. So why are people having thyroid issues? Well, you need to consume dulse and kelp and sea vegetables to reload that stuff in there, so you're not having all these hormonal problems. And it's a plague. We have a major deficiencies going on with people right now. So that's why it's different. And the other thing I wanted to say before you get into this is that we sun dry and air dry those ingredients over a 1 to 2 day process under 110 degrees. So the life force or the electric and it's measurable. You can take something called Kirlian photography and look, and you can see the energy emitting from our product.
I feel like that's what you're drinking, right?
Yeah.
You can feel that energy.
Yeah, you actually get a transfer of the energetics of it.
I feel better when I drink the Green 85.
I drink it every morning,
Yes.
and I can absolutely feel the difference.
I know that when I don't drink it and I fall off the habit, when I start back up again, it takes about 3 days, and I wonder what the heck. Why do I keep falling off of this habit? I have no idea why. So
what's the name of the drink again?
That one's called Green 85 Juice Formula. So that's the fuel, and then we call it Green 85 because it replaces the 85% of the nutrients that have been farmed out of our soils on average. So most people are literally walking around, guys, like on 15% fuel. Like, think about that.
Yeah.
But we just don't know, because you can go eat healthier, but if the soil's missing 85% of what's supposed to be in there, then it's not going to be in the plants. And
Absolutely.
it's not going to be in you. Or if you fed an animal those plants and ate the animal, it's not going to be in the animal.
Yeah.
You see?
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Let's say someone's starting off from scratch and wanting to get into being healthier. I mean, I feel like this time during COVID has been a wonderful time to really take a look at what we're doing for our health and building our immunity. So where would someone start? What are do you have 3 main things that you suggest someone starts doing?
Yeah, 4 actually. We call them our core 4 secrets. So
Okay.
that's a really good question. So the first thing is drinking half of your body weight in liquid ounces of purified and restructured water.
Okay.
This is big. Less than 5% of people in America are doing this. We have what's called cellular dehydration. It's a chronic issue in America. People are just not drinking enough water. What water we are drinking is polluted,
right?
And it's been through high pressure water systems, so the water molecules have gotten too big, and they're not able to get through the intestinal lining. It's like trying to throw a bowling ball through a chain link fence.
Got it.
It's just not going to work. So by restructuring the water, you get it tiny. It's like throwing sand through the chain link fence. It can get into the bloodstream.
Okay.
And it needs to be purified because water today is toxic. I mean, it's so bad that in some places in the United States, 1 gallon of tap water has a half a pill of pharmaceutical drugs in it.
Yes.
Think about that.
I try and not think about that.
That's
Actually,
the chlorine, the chloramides, and the fleoride, and all these other
So
things.
I need a better filter than
Rust.
The Brita is not cutting it, probably.
Brita is owned by Clorox that makes bleach. Just to give you an idea.
good to know.
Enough said, right?
Yeah, but it is better than nothing.
Yeah.
Right? It's
Yeah.
better than nothing. So
Yeah. So where do we start? We start with our water.
So water's
Drinking
number
it.
one. So you drink half your body weight. So if you're 200 pounds, that's 100 ounces of water a day.
Mhm.
If you're 100 pounds, that's 50 ounces a day.
Mhm.
If you're in an arid climate or you are a marathoner or triathlete, then you'd probably want to bump that up a little bit, 120, 125%, something like that.
Okay.
Core secret number 2 is chewing your food until liquefied. This one's huge because most people, less than 4% of Americans, are doing this. And it's the first step in digestion. And we have these pearly whites, we call them our teeth. And without chewing your food, you're actually causing fermentation and gut rot. I know because I used to eat food like Garfield. I was in a hurry, I'd scarf stuff down. And then your stomach's got to labor and labor and labor and labor. And you're draining yourself of vital energy for your activities of daily living.
Yeah.
And
I
gut
eat
rot.
fast naturally. So
And
I
your
have
gut
to
rot.
Think about that.
So we have two ducts up here and 4 down here, and they secrete these enzymes called amylase and lipase that are going to break down our starches and our carbohydrates,
Okay.
right? So and fats. And so if you don't chew them, then you're not going to load your food with them. But if you do chew your food really well, those enzymes will then go in the stomach, and that's where all the digestion takes place. Now, for the proteins, you have a substance in your gut called pepsin and hydrochloric acid that's going to break down the protein. And then after that's all done, shaken and bacon, and then it goes into this little 1-foot tube called the duodenum, and that's where the magic happens. It goes from acid to alkaline, and then it dumps into the small intestine, and then that's where it gets absorbed by these little hair-like structures called intestinal villi.
Right.
So it's really important to chew your food. And other thing that's really cool is when you chew your food really well, your teeth are touching the meridian points, you can actually boost up your serotonin levels or your happy juice by 500%.
Really?
Think about that. So how many people are depressed? Just by chewing your food well, you can get happier.
I learn something new every time I talk to you.
Yeah, so that's core secret number 2. Core secret number 3 is really simple. Less than 2% of people are doing this one, which is avoiding liquids with meals. Now, this is a hard one for people, especially when you're out partying and going with your friends and family, and the waiter's like, "What would you like? Water,
Right.
beer, and this
Really
and that."
hard.
If you just spent the time to work your butt off, to chew that food really well, and you send those enzymes down there, but then you drink purified water or beer or wine or apple juice or orange juice, you're not going to dilute the digestive enzymes and go right back to fermentation and gut rot. And you'll end up with leaky gut. So we recommend 30 minutes before a meal to stop drinking liquids and an hour after, unless you're stage 4 or something or wanting to win a gold medal, then we suggest an hour before to stop drinking liquids and 2 hours after your meal to start drinking liquids again. And then drink a lot. Right.
Okay. Yeah.
And then core secret number 4 is breath work or breath exercises, because we live in a constant state of stress today in the society. And when you're in stress mode, even if you don't think you're stressed, which let's ask people, are you stressed? Are you feeling stressed? Most
Right.
people are.
Most people are. There's
Yeah,
some,
yeah, and that's fight or
now more
flight.
than ever, right?
Yeah, fight or flight. And what happens in fight or flight is the blood leaves your organ systems, it goes into the extremities to fight or flight, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So you're not going to digest food well that way. So just by taking some mindful breaths in through the nose and pause for a little bit and then out through the mouth, just taking your time, pause with your
you
lungs
do that.
completely empty, and just do 4 or 5 of these, really simple. The blood will rush back into the organ systems. You'll have good digestion. If people listening today will stack those core 4 secrets together, I promise their health's going to turn around before even the products, they even get on the products. You combine those with the products in that kit, and then it's transformational.
That's great. All awesome tips, and some of them you've told me all these, but I always I forget a lot of them along the line. But every time I talk, I try to add something new to my health regimen. So thank you for all of that. So,
Yeah, you're welcome. But if I need to know something about real estate, then I call you.
then you call me. Yeah,
You guys specialize in that, you know.
Yeah, we specialize in real estate, and so. Our podcast is called All Things Portland, so we wanted to chat about Portland a little bit, and talking about food, one of the things we always ask our guests is, what are some of your favorite places to eat in Portland and favorite restaurants? And yours are going to be a lot different than a lot of people's. So definitely interested to hear what you have to say about that.
Yeah, one of the restaurants that I started off with was Blossoming Lotus, and there was a plant-based thing, and then there's Harlow.
Yep.
Is another one I go to.
Haven't been to Harlow yet.
That's on Hawthorne, and then there's another one like 34th and Hawthorne, and then there's another one on 9th and Davis. Was the sister store to them.
Okay.
It's in the yoga studio down there.
Oh, is that where Blossoming Lotus began? Or?
No, Blossoming Lotus is on 15th and Broadway.
Okay.
And then another one I like is Pixie Raw Retreat. They've got 3 or 4 locations, and they have all these wraps and these cool things, and they make healthier handmade foods. So I guess those are a few that I visit fairly frequently and send people to.
Would you say you could go there and pick up food pretty quickly, to replace a to-go food option for some
absolutely.
people maybe?
Absolutely. Especially at Pixie's, they have to-go's. They have these little wraps ready to go, and
healthier option.
No question.
So I feel like that's when you're out and about. That's where things can go awry if you're on a busy day, and most people are rushing to get to the next spot.
Yeah.
So
a little planning helps.
It's easy to go grab some junk food for sure. So.
It's a little
planning.
It seems to be everywhere, I guess is the point. But having somewhere like Pixie, you say, is a good place to go pick up.
Any good food cart options?
I haven't been to any lately.
No.
Yeah. I grow about 70% of my food, so it's a little bit more difficult.
Do you really?
Right.
Is that what we're going in now?
Gotcha.
So I would like to know what you like to do for outdoor activities in town and around. So
there's a lot of hiking trails in Portland. Tons of hiking
what's your
trails.
favorite trail? There's so many places to go.
Any of them. I mean, I just like being outside. We hike all up and down the gorge. There's Washington Park right up here.
Powell Butte, you ever go up there?
Mm-hmm. Powell Butte used to be a favorite one. I used to mountain bike up there a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Almost every morning.
Got a mountain bike, so that's a good.
Yeah,
good
every
spot
morning you go on that straight stretch, and then you go up the hill, and one of the best. I like going outside and hiking and sprint. I like to go to parks and like football fields and stuff like that, and do sprint work and just play around.
Is that what you would consider most of your workout, being outdoors, or do you do indoor yoga?
Yeah, I do yoga. I'm also a yoga instructor. I teach yin yoga, so I do a lot of that to lengthen and strengthen.
I did not know that.
Didn't know that either.
I did not
knew
know
you did
that.
yoga. I just didn't know you were an instructor.
Yeah, and it helps balance me out. I got away from weightlifting, got into more calisthenics, and now I do what's called X3 bar as a workout.
Nice.
Well, it's a band system, but it only takes 10-15 minutes a day, and you can with no injuries and no soreness because you only do one set, which is pretty cool. So I like being fit but not sore.
Yes, I understand that.
Doing squats until you're puking and then you can't walk and you're trying to get
for
out
3
of the car.
days and then you can't work out again.
I think one of the awesome things about Portland is just the location of it too, how easy it is to get to the coast or the mountain, or so do you do anything up at the mountain, snowboard, anything like that?
Occasionally I'll do that. I'll go whatever, skiing, snowboarding. That's the cool thing about being healthy and fit. You can kind of do whatever you want.
Yeah,
I like wake surfing in the summer times. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, the Willamette River, the Columbia River are awesome places to do that. And plenty of lakes all around, so that's Portland's pretty cool for that.
Yeah, where are you living these days, Tim?
I live in Canby.
You're living in Canby.
I'm living with a friend of mine that has cancer right now, and I'm helping her get her house detoxed and her mind detoxed and her relationships detoxed and everything detoxed and nourished, and she's doing fantastic.
Nice.
She's actually going to be going to Hippocrates in a couple weeks.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Step it up. She's doing really good. Lost a ton of weight. Her skin's glowing. She's looking good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she's doing really well.
So outside of Canby, I mean, is there anything you like about Canby? The neighborhood, something we don't know about Canby?
It's she lives kind of out just on the outside of Canby, so it's pretty nice because it feels like back home in Eastern Oregon.
Yeah,
out in the country a little bit.
Gives
which
you
is
the farm vibes.
Nice.
No wonder you're getting 60 to 70% of your food. That makes sense now. So
Portland, so this is kind of a funny thing that Kristina and I laugh about, and maybe you've heard us talk about it, but we call it the package. So the Portland package, or and it came from our mutual friend in Lake Tahoe. So he would bring his dates or new girls that he met, he'd bring them to Portland because he was originally from here. and his Portland package was Multnomah Falls. Well, I'd take them to the Portland City Grill, show them the views, and you can see all the city, and then Multnomah Falls to kind of show that off. Mike. And then he'd take them down to Cannon Beach and show them the beach, So he's like, he called them the Cannon Beach package and the Multnomah Falls package, and this one's getting this, So we've laughed about that for years.
For years,
so
yes.
We thought we'd ask our guests, like, if you had to put together a Portland package, what would be your top 3 things if you were bringing in a guest? Doesn't have to be a female, but if you were just bringing in a guest and they hadn't been to Portland before, what would be the top 3 things you would take them and really show off what Portland's all about?
Well, number 1, I would probably take them onto the gorge, and they can see Multnomah Falls or go on a hike.
Yeah, that
would be number 1. Probably take them to some maybe like a really nice restaurant that's healthy. Would be another thing, and then maybe take them to maybe like the Rose Garden or the Chinese Japanese thing.
Japanese garden.
Yeah, the Rose Garden.
Yeah, that's like you can take them
that
out to the Tulip Festival if that was going on.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Let's take a break.
Let's take a break.
Have you ever thought about flipping your own home?
Need to sell but cannot afford the repairs? We have the solution for you.
With our Flip Your Own Home program, we can help you maximize your full potential profit.
For a free, no obligation 15-minute consultation, call or text us today at 503-382-7798. Hey, we're back with All Things Portland and our guest Tim James, and we just finished up talking about what he does and how he helps people be healthy. We talked a little bit about Portland and all the things that make Portland great, and now we wanted to kind of transition in and talk a little bit about real estate. We know Tim has a real estate background, and Kristina and I are both realtors, so Tim, tell us a little bit. I know you were a mortgage broker, and tell us a little bit about that and kind of how you're feeling about the current market.
Yeah, so I was a mortgage broker for about 10 years, and I started back when we were like lifting weights together almost.
Yeah.
Way back in the day.
Right.
And your stories, by the way, are hilarious. Like you and Schuler.
There's way too
Lots
many
of protein.
stories.
Same suit. And you had like what was that car you had? It was like a Firebird or something?
Oh yeah, so getting our start, we would.
The 2-door Firebird. Yeah. And your stories when you pull up to the family of 4 to show the homes. Like, would you like me to take my car or yours? They're like, we'll take ours.
Yeah, so I had a 1980 Camaro. It was kind of a beat up car, 2-door, and a little cramped to get in the back. So I'm a brand new realtor.
T-top?
It wasn't a T-top. I didn't have that fancy. But,
with the mullet flowing?
But I didn't have the mullet by then either. But I had one suit, and I just changed up the tie every now and then. But I would pull up and I'd look at my clients and I'd come out and say, would you like to drive or would you like me to drive? They drove every time.
Saved gas.
Saved a lot of gas.
Oh, yeah.
Early
and Jason and I would laugh about,
your guys' stories are hilarious.
I was taller than him, so we couldn't change pants, but we could change jackets. So we both had the same pants on every appointment, all week long.
Yeah.
But we'd change jackets and so.
Well, I remember playing baseball with Jason, and he was making good money. You guys were making good money, and finally he's like, Tim, you got to either do mortgages or do real estate. I'm like, which one should I do? He's like, well, go do mortgages, and then me and my dad will give you plenty of business. I'm like, okay. And then I got into mortgages, and I called him up. I'm a mortgage broker now. Give me my business. He's like, you don't know nothing. I ain't giving you nothing. I'm like, what?
Sounds like that.
So anyway, he goes, it'll take you a couple years. So it took him a couple years. But anyway, so I worked really hard at that, and I just started getting involved, started making good money like I never made before, and then I started buying properties and getting some rental properties and stuff like that. And then you actually told me about the core training, which was a coaching program.
Right,
yeah. And you're like, because I lost a deal to some, remember, I found out this guy was like, hey, there's a deal with John Taylor or Corey Knight or something. I'm like, what? I'm like, how come I'm not on that deal? And I called him up, he's like, oh, Tim, yeah, well, geez, this gal, she comes over, she just value. She's giving all this stuff, she's helped my team, so we just threw her a bone. but you should check out this coaching program with the core training. So I was like, okay, if I lost a deal, I better. And I remember calling Rick Ruby up, and I'm like, I want to sign up right now. He's like, well, you need to go through the process. I'm like, no, sign me up, And so I ended up joining them for a few years, and it was a high-end real estate and mortgage coaching program.
I feel like this has led into your years. Some of that
and then I'm like, I took that training, and I was like, wow, and I'm like, I'm going to start coaching realtors on this. So I started coaching them on their profit and loss statement, their personal budget, and and these types of things, their lead trackers, and I had 5 groups of 3, and so I was coaching 15 realtors, and they paid me like $299 a month to show up. I tried to coach them for free, but nobody would show up.
Right.
So
they have to be invested.
Yeah, and my coach is like, they won't show up. He goes, charge them $299, they'll show up. I was like, okay. So I did that and offsetted my assistants' salaries and stuff. So that was cool. So I was really into real estate and lending and that kind of stuff. And but what I started noticing is that people, and then as I got into financial advising as well, is that people had all this money, but their health was jacked up. So what I realized is what we're doing is it's great, having abundance financially is one area of abundance.
Right.
But so many people make that the only area of abundance, and when you lock and close off all the other doors of abundance that can come to you, with money being the only way, you're really limited, right? So these people are coming in, they have all this money, but their health was jacked up. Right? And I was just telling the story just a minute ago where this couple came in, they had multi-million-dollar properties, big schedules of real estate, and the lady had to leave at my appointments like 3 or 4 times because of her acid reflux condition. It was so bad. Like her health was failing. So what a lot of us are doing is we're spending our whole lives working really hard, saving our money, investing in real estate or whatever, and all of a sudden we have this health event, and then our health drops. We run into a broken medical system, and they take all of our money just trying to get a little bit of our health back. So what I'm trying to open people's minds to is like, look, the most important real estate that you have is that real estate between your ears.
Right.
And wake up and start valuing yourself and love self and start, if you have a old rundown property, what's it going to sell for? Not much. Right? So what do? You go in and you remodel it, new floors, new doors, paint, carpet, you put it all you shine it up, you buff it up, and all of a sudden it's looking good, and you get high value for it, right? And then it operates better because you can get in and out of the door without the door falling off or the toilet handle falling off. But then we do that with our health. We run our health down, and we're like an old beat up old house that needs remodeled. So that's what we do is we help people remodel themselves, and we think it's very important because if you don't take care of your health, where are you going to live?
Right.
Where are you going to live? Yeah. In your body. So it's very important because you can have all this money, but if you don't have your health, you're really screwed. So why not have both? Why not have the money?
Absolutely.
Be in a career that you really love. Have the relationship where you're actually making a conscious effort to cultivate a positive relationship in your life. The career, the finances, the health, everything. Let's have it all. I mean, it's a one-shot deal here, so why not make the best out of everything?
Right. I love it.
Question: do you still have rentals, or have you?
No, I actually sold everything, and I'm like right now I'm on this. I've been on a journey for 2 years. I sold everything. I don't rent. I don't do anything. I've been going from house to house, helping people heal themselves with stage 4 things. And like I said, I'm in this one deal now. This might be the last family that I go in with because I think I'm ready to get my own space again. But what is something I wanted to do for the last 2 years. It's been kind of like
and I know you'll start buying and investing again here at some point.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Where any neighborhoods that you like better than others in Portland, or any recommendation to our audience?
Well, the one thing I will say is that before I get into that is when I was a financial advisor, I can tell you we put portfolios together with people, and every single time the more real estate that was in the financial portfolio of those investments, the better that portfolio performed. So, I kind of learned this like watching Superman growing up. Remember Lex Luthor, where his dad is like, there's only one thing there's a limited amount of, and it's land.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? But people keep growing and having babies. So, investing in real estate is I think it's always going to be a great investment. You just have to be smart about it. And, I always think it's good to buy somewhere local where you can keep an eye on your stuff in the beginning if you're new. And you don't make money when you sell, you make money when you buy.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I always tell everyone it's a long end game too. You don't buy a piece of property unless you're planning on fixing it or flipping it, but you want to at least hang on to it for at least 5 years and know that you're going to get your equity out of that home. It's going to build no matter what's going on in the economy. 5 to 10 years of hanging on to real estate will allow you to do that. And that piece of real estate will allow you to pull money out of to get another piece of real estate too, and build those portfolios like you're talking about.
So first time buyer, best investment.
The best investment for first time
buyer.
Man, it depends on what they can afford, but maybe get them into a duplex.
Yeah.
Rent out the other half, and that way they can keep an eye on it, and they can practice being a landlord, and it's right there, and it gives them a good taste, and be very. I learned some really cool stuff from some people. Like this one gal, she said, "Here's what I do." She goes, she runs ads for a property, and then she narrows it down. She runs the credit reports, she runs the background checks. You take your time. It's like hire slowly, fire quickly. It's the same thing with renters.
Right, especially nowadays.
Run ads in churches. Find church organizations where the churches actually help people. Because what will end up happening is you get really good people out of churches. They got to rent too, and they'll come in and rent. And then when they leave, the whole church shows up and helps them polish your house. The last place I had, I didn't even have to have a house cleaner come in. They spit shined the whole thing. It was great.
Pitched in probably.
And when they were down and they couldn't afford the whole rent payment, the church helped them. So I was always paid. Right. So have a good contract. Make sure they can't have trampolines. I prefer no pets. I had this one lady one time. She's like,
pets just tear the house up.
She's like, well, this thing says you can't have any snakes. And I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, well, my girlfriend or my daughter's boyfriend has a snake. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, snakes stink and they get out. She's like, oh no, this isn't a perfect cage and all this stuff. And I was like, she told me how great the snake was, and I was like, okay, well, if you want to put down an additional $5,000 deposit for that snake to make sure the house is cleaned up, then yeah, I'll do it. $5,000, that's ridiculous. I'm like, well, you just said the snake's safe, so what do you got to lose? I'll give it back to you. It's in the contract.
Get it back, right?
So she did, and it was fine. But I'm like, pets ruin homes. I mean, they really do. Even the little dog will scratch.
Come on, now I have one of those. She does
I know. I have dogs too, and I have pets, and I love pets. But from an investor
standpoint, there's a lot of wear and tear.
Yeah.
They also make it a home.
Yeah. So I would put that in the contract. Just make sure you have extra fees for pets because you don't want to end up holding the bag as an investor.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. That is a good point.
And the other thing she would do is she would narrow it down to the last two visitors or the last two people, and then go to their house unexpected, knock on their door with, she said a Pepsi, but I would say a big glass of purified, restructured water, and say, hey, I was just in the neighborhood. I thought I'd stop by and see you. You're one of the last two people. It's between you and another family, and I just wanted to stop and say hi. And do you mind if I use your bathroom? Look, I've been drinking a lot of water here. And they're like, oh yeah, come on in. You get to see how they live. If the place is a pigsty, then they're not coming into your place. But it's unexpected, right? You actually go into their home and see how they live.
See how,
so that was a really good tip.
That's a great idea. I like that.
Are we allowed to do that?
It's a sneak attack.
Yeah, it's sneak
attack. Sneaky stuff.
Yeah, I got to pee.
I like that. That's a pro tip. Everybody should do this.
That actually is really smart.
So there's a lot going on in the world right now, and that's affected the real estate market somewhat. But as someone that's not necessarily in the business anymore, what do you see when you think about the Portland real estate market right now? What's your perception?
Well, I think that where Portland is, it's always going to be a hot spot because we're between LA and San Diego down there, and we got and Seattle, right? And people are leaving these places, and Portland's more affordable. The traffic's not as bad, and then also we have water, and we're green. And knowing what I know about the water aquifers and stuff back east in the Midwest, these places are going to be drying up. We could completely run out of water, and then the breadbasket could turn into a dust bowl again. And people are where are they going to move to? They're going to be moving to Portland. We're also in a democratic state, and they don't like expansion and growth. So that limits the amount of permits that can be pulled and stuff like that. So higher rents are in these democratic states. I wish that we weren't, but that's where we're at.
Restricts the amount of homes that can be built. Restricts inventory, and right now with interest rates are low, inventory's low, and so it just keeps the market. And the houses are still up, even in this crisis. Sales are up, and the prices are up 4%. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we're like an hour away from the beach. We're an hour away from Mount Hood.
Yeah.
A couple hours away from desert country that's beautiful.
That's what I love about Portland. That's coming from other areas. I've lived in 4 other states, not one state that I've lived in can have access to so many different sceneries, like to take in the mountains and the beach and the desert.
She transplanted in 2006, so
right
California.
Before the crash.
I
got my license.
I invited her up in August and showed her how it's always like this, right? The sneak attack.
But yes, it was beautiful in August.
A few winters were a little rough, but she stuck around.
From June to September, it's one of the most beautiful places on the planet.
Yeah, the scenery is unbeatable here. You can't find what we have here in the summertime or throughout the year. I mean, it's just so green. And after living in 4 different states, it's easy to see why people want to move here and why people are moving to Portland.
Totally. There's so much development downtown too. That's the condos and the shops, and it's really the Pearl District has been. When we first got here, dude, in the last 20 years, that Pearl District was like, it was bad.
Well, you wouldn't even go down there back in the 90s, and then all of a sudden they did a few of these kind of cool artist lofts, and then it just kind of expanded from there. So, 2000 on, they all of a sudden the high rises started popping in and out. And I moved down there in 2005, I think it was, 2005, and there was, cranes everywhere, and then
right.
There's still cranes everywhere.
Yeah, and then the market crashed.
And
nothing happened for a while, but now you go down there and there's cranes everywhere, and new apartments, new condos, new office buildings, hotels. There was never hotels in the Pearl District before. Now there's
nice
couple
ones.
of them. Yeah, really nice. So
I've been in a couple.
I actually got my license at the height of the crash last year, or 2008 crash. That's when I decided to jump into real estate.
Timing,
So, which also, I mean, given today's atmosphere, I think it's important to point out how different what we're going through today is compared to 2008, where 2008 real estate was more of an internal implosion versus outside factors kind of creating maybe a pause on activities in real estate. People
2008 it was caused by housing.
Right.
This crisis is caused by, it's a health crisis. It's not a housing crisis. So housing is going to lead the way for the economic recovery.
I would actually say a fear crisis.
It's a fear crisis.
Right.
Yes.
That's a whole other conversation.
we can go all day long. We don't have that much time right now. That'll be another one.
Actually, speaking of wrapping up today, what would you like to leave us with, Tim? What do you?
Well, I think what I'd leave people with is to not only invest in real estate, which I think is a great investment, but also invest in yourself. That's probably the most important thing, and to love self. And if you're feeling lost and you're struggling with your career, or you're struggling with your relationship, or you're struggling with your health, or you're struggling with your finances, the first thing to do is just fix your health. This is the vehicle that's going to make all these things. And when you raise the tide, or raise that water up with your health, all those other areas have the potential to get better, because it's all connected.
Right.
So for people that are out there struggling, that I would say,
this is your real home. This is your home, no matter where you're at.
Take care of yourself, and everything's better. Like just being able to, some people can't even bend over and tie their shoes. That's where all these Velcro shoes are coming into place. I mean, imagine not being able to even reach down to bend over to tie your shoe, or you have to buy 2 airline tickets to go on a plane ride because of you're overweight that much. You know what I'm saying? So, people don't. It's unfortunate, but it's not their fault, because a lot of the food delivery system is broken, the medical system is broken, and I mean it's really bad. And I'll leave with this: is like, I just found out today that the FDA is relaxing the labeling laws. So I used to teach people to read labels, right? Read the label, and trying to teach people like, don't eat this and don't eat that. Look out for the ones with the OSE at the end. Those are sugars and maltodextrin and natural flavors. It's not natural. It's 90% chemicals. But now they can say, the companies can put whatever they want in, and they don't have to change the label. That just happened. So now
crazy.
It's complete war on your body.
Within this last week, that just happened?
Just happened, with the FDA. Over Memorial Day weekend, while everybody's having fun, they slipped that out over Memorial Day weekend. Wow. So, be a student of health. Put yourself first. Drink lots of water. Follow those core 4 secrets. Eat lots of fresh food. Buy local. buy local. That's really important.
Yeah.
And get outside and get some sunshine. That's vitamin D. That's going to kill viruses and
Feels so good outside
all that stuff.
too.
And
So
fresh
nice
air.
right now,
And don't buy into all the fear mongering. Turn off the news and
I second that one.
turn up the music and have some fun.
30
Absolutely.
days, no news. I think
Well,
anybody.
Thank
feel
you
better.
very much for being our first guest. We
Yeah.
appreciate it so much.
Tim, we
And
love you.
if
Thank you
anybody
so much.
out there is struggling with their health, or just even if they're not struggling, if they just want to learn how to even get a little bit more healthy, call Tim James, chemicalfreebody.com, and he can absolutely help you out. He's helped me out. And so thank
He's
you.
helped out me and my family as well. So
Yeah.
he's
I actually put
definitely-
a 5% first time discount code for your listeners. So
Oh,
all things
Thank you.
Portland
Even better.
ATP. So if they put ATP in at checkout, they get 5% off their first
Nice.
purchase.
Thank you.
Chemical Free
There
Body.
you go. Discounts too.
ATP is the code, and they get
Yeah.
5% off.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep. That's it.
Well,
Thanks,
thank you
Tim.
so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for listening.
Be safe. Have a great day, and we'll chat soon.